Hi, Sherilyn. It was a pleasure to read your post. I'm going to start by saying I only hope I pronounced your name correctly. I studied it for a little while before making the video, just wanting to make sure that I pronounce it correctly. Um, I saw that you were a fan of the Seven Cups website, and I actually chose Talkspace. I went back and looked at yours when I saw that was your preference because I was trying to see why I didn't appreciate it, and it came to me like when I logged into the website itself. I just think that things should be aesthetically pleasing, and that what the initial page of that website, and other customers may not notice this, but this is just something for me. It was just so much information. It didn't seem like the website was well put together. And then when I looked at Talkspace, it was a clean, um, neatly laid out website. So when I looked at that, I just thought it was more credible simply from the way that it looked. Now, that could totally be deceiving, but of course, as I read further, I just preferred Talkspace anyway. But um, Seven Cups just seemed, it was just so much at one time. I think it could be potentially overwhelming when you're trying to search for what you want. And Talkspace is laid out so neatly, but I did appreciate the quote you put in by Reese. New customers come from the actions of past customers. And 2020 has really drawn us to see how that is so true. When we look at, past customers, or when we look at past clients or patients, um, many people want the service, but several couldn't get there to actually want the service, mental health service. But some were faced with transportation issues or timing, or being able to get off from work, or kids in school. And I'm now with a practice who does a lot of telehealth. And I'm busier now than I've ever been as a therapist. People having the ability to log in all times of the day, on weekends, and even during the evening has really, really determined. So our past customers saying, hey, what they needed, really did allow us to change our practice to pretty much, change our practice to change our way of doing things to a new way of doing things. And now, our numbers have really grown exponentially. Um, you said Seven Cups is, it builds communities, which I thought a lot of the sites did. Um, but I also found it building community as I responded to someone else's post. When you're talking about building community and accessing the service, and allowing more people to have access to it. I think all of the sites definitely did that. And we do have to be more progressive in our leadership, right? Because a lot of businesses, we talk about, I heard someone talking about the pivot. And if you were able to pivot, you're more likely to be successful in this whole COVID season. So progressive leaders were able to pivot. And I think some never thought about, mental health having the ability to pivot. And as you stated, more people than ever need it because there's a lot of, anxiety and depression is what we're seeing. And sometimes when anxiety and depression sit in, you don't always get those people to leave their comfort zone, because most people are having anxiety and depression because of COVID. So they get afraid to leave their homes, but knowing that we have websites out there that allow us to go into their home and make contact really helps us to help them. I have found from personal that, many of my clients are even more forthcoming with being on video. They're at home in the privacy of their homes, and some are more comfortable talking about, what may be going on with them. So I do appreciate the ability for us to take mental health to a more virtual locality now. At my practice, we're still using Zoom, which I love, but to know that these tools are out there really opens the door for so many opportunities for many healthcare professionals. But once again, thank you for sharing in your post. and look forward to working with you in the future. Bye.